Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim, and today I have another unboxing video for you. This is Pandemic Hot Zone North America by Z-Man Games, designed by Matt Laycock. An exciting co-op game. Play together, win together. Let's look at the back of the box here. Step 1, treat disease before it spreads. Step 2, share research with teammates. Step 3, discover the cure to save humanity. Disease threatens North America and only you can stop it. Play with your teammates against the game to prevent outbreaks, find the cures, and win or lose together. So this is another game in the Pandemic series of games, which I think most people are pretty familiar with. Not sure exactly what's different about this one, if it's just a smaller map but same gameplay, but let's or if it's got some new mechanics to it or what. But let's take a look at what's inside and see what this is all about. I picked this up. Miniature Market had several games that I've kind of had on my radar excuse me, for extremely large discounts this week. I think this was only like $5. So I've actually got a few more that I'll be doing unboxing videos for here shortly. Some other games that I picked up from that sale. Excuse me. So here we go. Box is kind of snug. Hard to get a grip on it. Box is very snug. Alright, I'm going to do this behind the camera here so I can get it off without knocking everything over. Alright, we got it loose. That's a real tight fit there. All right, so here's the, rule book. Got a little QR code you can scan here to probably watch a learn to play video. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Rodney Smith's. So in Pandemic Hot Zone North America, you are members of a specialized disease-fighting team. Using your unique skills, you must work together to stop the spread of diseases across North America while working to discover the cures. So here's all the components. It's only, looks like about maybe a 8-page rule book. Yep. So here's the setup. Looks pretty typical of your basic pandemic game. Only 3 epidemic cards, it looks like. Got an infection deck. And you do the same sort of thing where you pre-infect some areas. Looks like fewer areas than in the regular game, which makes sense since it's a smaller board. Yep, and I got some key concepts here. There's only 3 diseases in this one. I believe there's 4 in the full pandemic game. Description of the turns. You get 4 actions, then you draw 2 player cards, then you draw infection cards. Driver, ferry, direct a flight, charter a flight. This is all the same. Treat disease, share knowledge, lets you trade cards with each other. Lets you not trade really, it lets you give or take. One or the other. All right, and discovering a cure. So you have to be in Atlanta. So apparently there's no, I forget what they call them, treatment centers or whatever that you can deploy in the regular game. So it looks like you have to go back to the CDC in order to discover the cure. And then it talks about the epidemic cards, the way those work. Same as normal. Increase, infect, and intensify. And then drawing infection cards based on the current infection rate. And then how outbreaks work. Whenever you would place a fourth one, you do an outbreak instead, which can trigger other outbreaks. And event cards. How you lose and how you win. As with most cooperative games, there are multiple ways to lose, but only one way to win. So if the outbreak marker gets to the last space on the track, you lose. If you need to place a cube and there aren't any of that color left, or if you need to draw cards and there are none left to draw. So the deck serves as a timer on the game. You have a limited amount of time to find the cure. And the only way to win is to cure all 3 diseases. Crisis cards. Looks like a way to increase the difficulty. And then just some other points and some clarifications. And the credits on the back. Oh, here we go. Differences from Pandemic. There's only 3 diseases instead of 4. During setup, the number of cards drawn is slightly different, which we mentioned. To discover, you only need 4 cards instead of 5. Okay, I couldn't remember if that was the same or not. There's only 1 research station. That's what they're called. You cannot build more, and there's no shuttle flights where you could basically travel between your research stations. Only 3 epidemic cards. And, you can't eradicate diseases. So yeah, that was one thing in the original Pandemic too. Once you found a cure, I think if you were able to get all of the cubes of that disease off the board, then it was considered eradicated. And I think they wouldn't come out anymore then. Researcher and dispatcher abilities are a bit different. And then it adds the crisis cards to increase the difficulty. I think in the regular Pandemic, the way you increased the difficulty was you just used more epidemic cards. So yellow 2, if you want to sleeve it with Gamegenic sleeves. And yeah, those are the rules. Okay, they got the board in a shrink wrap, which is a bit unusual. I've seen them in like Ziploc bags before, but I don't think I've ever seen boards that have been shrink wrapped. I'm sure it's not the first time. I've just never seen it before. All right, pretty small board here, as you would expect. Just covers North America. So U.S., a little bit up into Canada, and then pretty much all of Mexico, it looks like, and over into Cuba as well. So you got your different areas that correspond to the colors of the cards, and that also correspond to the 3 different disease colors. Here's your outbreak track. Wow, pretty short. 4 outbreaks and you're done. And then a spot for the cards. Looks like they're smaller cards. The mini, probably mini USA or mini Euro, one of the two. And your infection rate track, shorter as well. So that's the board. Here we've got the disease cubes. Just take a few of them out so you can see them outside of the bag, maybe. There we go. So we got blue, yellow, and looks pretty orange. I thought it was red on the board, but maybe it is orange. Yeah, it looks more red on the board, but the cubes are pale red, or it's got kind of an orangish tint to it though. Got the player pawns. They are plastic, not wooden. Resin. So different color for each of the I don't think they, just different player colors. You got your three medicine bottle type tokens for your 3 diseases that you're trying to cure, outbreak marker, and infection rate marker. Again, all this sort of like resin material. And lastly, we have the cards. Here are your different roles. Looks like there's just 4 to choose from. So if you play a full, it supports 2 to 4 players. So if you play a full 4-player game, you're using all the roles. Pandemic, the original game, actually has more roles than the maximum number of players, so you don't necessarily have them all in the game at once. So medic, when you do, excuse me, the treat disease action, remove all the cubes of one color instead of only one. And at any time, remove all the cubes of cured diseases in your city for free. So once a disease has been cured, I think anyone at that point basically gets this ability, where whenever you treat it, you can remove them all. But they have the additional, in order for them to still have a better ability than other players. In that situation, they can remove them all for free. Don't have to spend an action. The generalist, they just get 5 actions instead of 4. The researcher, give a city card from your hand to another player in your city. The card does not need to match your city. So normally when you give a card, you have to give a card that matches the city that you're both in. This allows this player to give any card. And then the dispatcher, 2 different actions. One is move any pawn directly to any other pawn city, and the other is move another player's pawn to a connected city. Not sure exactly what that means, but slightly different from the original game, as they mentioned. Okay, then we've got some reference cards, one for each player. Just lists all your different choices for your actions. And we've got the infection cards. So these are the cards you'll be drawing to see which city gets infected. So there's just 1 for each city. And we've got the player cards. So these, again, correspond to each city. Looks like there's only one of each. And these are what you'll be using to either, you can use them to travel with. Like if I want to fly to Indianapolis, I can play that card and fly there. And then also you're trying to collect 4 of the same color in order to cure a disease. So there's one for each city. And we've got the crisis cards. We'll look at those last. Events. Looks like they're pretty similar. There's the 3 epidemic cards. So the events, you've got just 4 of them. Borrowed time. Played during the do actions step, and it doesn't count as an action, and it gives you 2 extra actions for your turn. Airlift, you can play at any time to move 1 pawn to any city. Remote treatment, play at any time. Return any 2 cubes from the board to the supply. And 1 quiet night, play at any time. Skip the draw infection card step this turn. So those are pretty much the same as their counterparts, I think, in the original. Our 3 epidemic cards that will get mixed in with the player cards. And like basically, one goes in the top third, one goes in the next third, and one goes in the bottom third. And when these come out, you increase the infection rate marker. You draw the bottom card of the infection deck, put 3 cubes on that city, and then discard it. And then you take all the cards in the discard pile, shuffle them up, put them back on top. So all those cities that had been infected are going to get drawn again, which makes it lots of fun, trying to keep things under control. All right, and then these are the crisis cards, again, that can be used to increase the difficulty. So you've got Hotspot. So if you draw this, I believe these go into the player deck as well. So when you draw these as one of your player cards, you have to play it immediately, discard it, draw the bottom card from the infection deck, and place 3 matching cubes on that city. So basically like the infect step of the epidemic card. You got logistics failure, resolve the draw infection cards step twice this turn. And if you played 1 quiet night, then you get to skip one of them. That could be nasty. Planes grounded. Players cannot do the direct flight or charter flight actions. And then that stays in effect until the next crisis card is drawn. Yikes. Limited options. Another stays in play. Reduce the player's hand size to 5. I think normally it's 6 in this one. Discard or play event cards as needed. And that stays out until the next crisis card is drawn. Sanitation failure. Advance the infection rate marker unless it's already at the end of the track. Contamination. Choose 1 pawn and check the color of their city. Place 1 cube of that color on each connected city. Ooh. And then crisis, unacceptable losses. Draw the bottom card from the infection deck, return that infection card, and 3 matching cubes to the box. Oh. So it makes it more likely that that color will run out. So yeah, those all sound pretty nasty. But if you've gotten really good at the game and you're looking for more of a challenge, those will certainly provide it for you. All right, so that is everything that is in the box for Pandemic Hot Zone North America. So I hope that was helpful for you. And if so, please give the video a like. And if you want to see more content on the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you get notified when, or you can get notified when new videos are uploaded. And of course, share it with your friends so that they can join in on the fun as well. All right. Well, thanks to you all for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.